Okay, so what if I told you the key to your future was actually hidden somewhere in the past? In this explainer, we're going to dive deep and unlock the secrets of the incredible Newbery-winning novel Moon Over Manifest. It's a story all about a young girl, a town that's been sort of forgotten by time, and the memories that, believe it or not, tie them all together. So let's meet our guide on this journey. Her name is Abilene Tucker. She's 12 years old, and right now she's on a train. See, she's heading to a place she's never actually laid eyes on, but she feels like she knows it inside and out, all thanks to her father, Gideon, and his stories. For Abilene, this town, Manifest, isn't really a real place yet. It's a town built entirely out of words, and they sound as smooth and sweet as butterscotch. All right, section 1, a girl, a train, a town. Now, you got to picture this. The year is 1936. We're right in the thick of the Great Depression. And when Abilene finally steps off that train, the reality she finds is, well, it's a bit of a letdown. Manifest, Kansas is this quiet, dusty little town. It's a world away from the bustling, exciting place she'd heard about in all of her father's stories. And here's where things get really interesting. The story doesn't just stick to one timeline. It actually plays out across two totally different eras. We're following Abilene's adventure, right, in 1936, but bubbling just under the surface, there's this huge mystery from way back in 1918. We're talking about a time when the town was absolutely alive and, the whole world was at war. So why is she here? Well, her dad, Gideon, he's a railroad man, always on the move. He's sent her to Manifest for the summer, saying he's got a job she can't come along for. He says it's just temporary, but for Abilene, man, it feels like he's just left her. For the first time, she's truly on her own, with a temporary guardian and just a ton of questions about why her dad would really send her away like this. Okay, part 2. A box full of secrets. So Abilene's feeling pretty lost, right? Adrift in this new town. But she's about to stumble upon something that will anchor her to the past. And this discovery, it's not just going to change her summer. It's going to change her entire understanding of who she is and where she comes from. So in the very room where she's staying, which, get this, might have been her father's old room, she finds it, tucked away under a loose floorboard, a hidden cigar box. A Lucky Bill cigar box, to be exact. And let me tell you, this is no ordinary box. It's basically a time capsule, just waiting to be opened. And what's inside? It's this collection of what looks like just random stuff. You've got old letters, a weird hand-drawn map, a silver dollar, a fancy key, even a cork and a fishhook. But these aren't just trinkets. No way. They're clues. And the letters are the real treasure. They start to tell this incredible story from 1918 about two boys, a clever, street-smart kid named Jinx and his best friend, Ned. All right, section 3, the story of 1918. So Abilene doesn't go it alone. She teams up with a couple of new friends and gets some help from this mysterious woman in town, a diviner named Miss Sadie. Suddenly, Abilene isn't just a visitor anymore. She's a detective. She starts putting the pieces together from 1918, and what she finds is a picture of Manifest that is completely different from anything she could have ever imagined. You see, that quiet, sleepy town from 1936, forget about it. The Manifest of 1918 was the complete opposite. It was a true melting pot, just buzzing with energy. It was packed with immigrant communities from all over Europe, people drawn to America by the promise of work in the coal mines. They all had their own traditions, sure, but they were absolutely united by this shared hope for a better life. And what's really cool is the town's name itself, Manifest. It has this brilliant double meaning that gets right to the heart of the whole story. On one hand, you've got manifest, like a ship's manifest, the list of passengers that brought all those immigrants over. But then you have manifest, as in to reveal or to make known. And that's exactly what this story is about, making the hidden truths of the past come to light. So through these letters, we get to see all of Jinx and Ned's wild adventures. I mean, these guys are selling fake potions, outsmarting con artists, the whole shebang. But all of these youthful schemes are happening against this really somber backdrop because World War I is raging over in Europe. And that shadow just creeps closer and closer until finally Ned decides he needs a real story of his own, and he enlists. Okay, on to part 4, connecting past and present. So the deeper Abilene gets into this story of Jinx and Ned, the more she starts to see these little echoes of their lives all around her in 1936. The puzzle pieces are starting to click into place, and they're all pointing toward a truth that, honestly, she never, ever saw coming. And this, right here, becomes the central question of everything. Who were these two boys from the past? And, more importantly, what is their connection to her own father, Gideon? Because the more she reads about Jinx, this smooth-talking kid who's always on the move and has a real gift for spinning a yarn, the more he starts to sound familiar. Very familiar.
And then it clicks. The big reveal. Jinx is Gideon. The boy from all those letters is her own father. Suddenly, all those tales he told her about Manifest, they weren't just stories. They were memories. They were pieces of a life he had run away from, a life he had never, ever told her about directly.
And just like that, everything makes sense. Why her father was always wandering, why he was always so distant. It all comes back to this deep, unresolved grief. Because Ned never came back from the war. And Gideon, who was just a boy named Jinx back then, was so completely shattered by losing his best friend that he left Manifest. He couldn't bear to face the memories that the town held. Which brings us to our final section, finding a place called home. Because in uncovering her father's secret past, Abilene does something truly remarkable. She doesn't just find answers for herself, she actually helps an entire town remember who they used to be. Her digging into the past, it acts like a spark. All the old-timers in town, the ones who had grown so quiet and kind of isolated over the years, they start talking again. They start sharing their own stories. And that simple act of remembering, of telling stories, it literally breathes life back into Manifest, reconnecting everyone to the powerful bonds that once made them a real community. And this really is what Abilene learns. Remember that line from the beginning, true places never are on any map? At the start of the summer, that was just something she'd repeat to explain her life on the move. But by the end, she gets it. She really understands what it means. Home isn't just a dot on a map. It's the whole web of stories and people that hold you. It's about connection. So, by digging into the history of this one tiny town, Abilene finds her own place in the world. And it kind of leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? What hidden histories, what forgotten stories are just waiting to be uncovered in the place that you call home?